No matter what they claim or say or try to convince people of, and no matter how many times they repeat their lies, the facts are not going to change. Evidence proves that every single person that lived in Rebecca's household at the time of her death lied to the police about when they saw her last and the events leading up to her death. Every single one of them. There is a drive file link on page 149 to the documents I'm referring to. The next section is called Jumping the Gun, a Camera Whore, and a Lucky Duck. Titled by me. I'll explain. This page 150 is a screenshot of a media post from September 13th, 2013, 3 days after Rebecca's body was found. It says 12-year-old U.S. girl commits suicide after being bullied online. Florida Sheriff Grady Judd, blah, 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 blah. So he's the face and the voice of the tragedy. Everybody listen up. You may be asking yourself, why would the sheriff cover this up? What would make him want to do that? Well, you have to know Sheriff Judd and what's important to him to answer that question. The sheriff here in Polk County, Florida, absolutely loves to be in front of the camera. He loves to hear himself talk. He loves for others to hear him talk. He loves to be the center of attention. He loves to be the hero. He has an ego the size of the county and is a saint in his own eyes. That is what is most important to him. It's not his job. It is not the people of Polk County, and it is most certainly not doing the right thing. It's his ego and the love of the camera, publicity, and possibly the fear of an internal affairs investigation. According to the case file, Rebecca's body was not moved off of the gravel until after 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. She was not undressed. She was not examined. There was no body temperature taken. Our sheriff was on the news at 8:30 a.m. telling the public that Rebecca's death appeared to be a suicide. Remember, it was the kickoff of Anti-Bullying Week during Suicide Prevention Month, World Suicide Prevention Month. ABC, CNN, CBS, WFLA, WONN, WTVT. The cameras were everywhere because this death went along with the theme of the country and the world that day. Sheriff Judd had the lead detective, Jonathan McKinney, call the chief medical examiner and ask him to please stop by on his way to work. That's all in the report. Basically, to give Grady the go-ahead to go on TV and call it a suicide. The thumbs up, you know. McKinney states that the chief medical examiner came to the scene, comes usually to the scene of high-profile stuff, and that's a quote. Where am I at? I lost my place. Oh, meaning the cases that bring the cameras. It doesn't take a genius to deduce that Grady has Dr. Nelson come to the crime scene of high-profile stuff to get a preliminary go-ahead as to where to steer the public and the investigation when he runs to the cameras. It's Dr. Nelson's job to determine how Rebecca Sedgwick died. And where am I at? I keep losing my place. It's Dr. Nelson's job to determine how Rebecca Sedgwick died. And he makes no attempt to take a body temperature when he gets to the scene, according to Detective McKinney, because he had no intention of investigating anything. Everything he hadn't seen under her clothing when he gave Grady the go-ahead and said that her injuries were consistent with a fall from a great height, but he saw every damn thing else. Everything that you're seeing in the photographs that are in the document, he also saw. You know, you want to believe that there is some sort of outrageous circumstance, something that you don't know that explains it all, but there's not. Your eyes are not deceiving you. Dr. Nelson makes conclusions as to what they will find at autopsy and tells Grady Judd, who's always looming, to hear what Dr. Nelson concludes so that he can go on TV. I suspect that the crime scene logs in a lot of the high profile cases will show Dr. Nelson and Grady Judd signed into the crime scene together. Every crime scene has a crime scene log. Everyone is signed in and everyone is signed out. My opinion is that Dr. Nelson takes no body temperature when he arrives at the scene to estimate her time of death because he already knows that there is no intention to investigate it. Any first-year pathology student would be aware of the purge fluid that is bubbling out of her nose and mouth, the direction and pattern of the abrasions on her body, and the post-mortem injuries all over her. Not to mention her shorts being down.